All right, folks, we're back. It's Tuesday, y'all. About 6 o'clock. Boy, it's going down. It's going down. It's going down. I'm Lonzo, the Godfather of West Coast hip hop. My man Dusty's in the dugout, and it goes like this, y'all. From the West Coast to the East Coast and everything between, folks. From Eve after dark to concerts in the park. You're live with your boy Lonzo, the Godfather of West Coast hip hop, and my main man Dusty Vision in the dugout. Wait to come on and drop some hip hop information for you. From the nigga verse and more, folks. We going there, we going there, we going there. Yo, Dusty One, what's up with you, Doc?
Lonzo, how you doing, my man?
Man, I'm doing fantastic. How you doing over there, Dusty?
Can't complain, can't complain. A little hot, but you know, I got my studio. Got it down to about 69 degrees in here, so I'm feeling good, man.
I'm sitting up here at 62. I'm about to fall asleep. It's so chill up in here right about now. But the doze off. Talk to me.
Feel you, man. Yeah, a lot of stuff to talk about, man. We're going to talk about some more West Coast hip hop tonight, you know, in light of the 50th anniversary of hip hop coming up in August. You guys seem to like that. So we got a bunch of questions. And if you have any questions in the chat, please put them there and I will copy and paste them. But let's take a trip to the niggaverse, Lonzo. We haven't been to the niggaverse in a few weeks. And this week, the niggaverse was in full force. So why not take a little trip there in our spaceship, man? Lately, I would love your opinion on this. Lately, there have been a lot of rappers and popular street figures who are being accused of snitching. Some are being accused of not living the life they rap about in songs. Paperwork is coming out. I mean, some from years ago, Lonzo. Jail footage is showing them snitching or requesting to be moved to protective custody, or PC as it's known. These gangster rappers and gangsters are telling kids not to snitch, you know, not to go to PC when they get locked up, hit that main line, little homie, you know, telling kids to follow a certain code, the G code. Meanwhile, when they are facing serious time, they start singing like a bird. Or when they hit prison, they're hitting the PC yard because they're too afraid of their ops. But how important is it for young people to know, Lonzo, that most of these rappers and a lot of these street dudes don't really live by the same code they talk about in their music?
It's totally important, Doc, because they selling you a crock of shit. They don't believe in themselves. It sounds good on record. It looks good in the video, but in real life, that shit does not work for nobody, man. I've been following a lot of videos here lately. I've been seeing a lot of folks who be so super gangsters that have been caught snitching in various situations, man. I don't put myself in that situation because I know if it's gonna be me and you, especially if I had nothing to do with it. I know me. I'm gonna call me what you want, but if I ain't got nothing to do with it, and you talking about protecting your ass over mine, that's called self-preservation, man. That's just called self-preservation. I'm sorry, dude. And anybody thinks that you're supposed to preserve somebody else's life over your own, especially if you had nothing to do with it, you just got scooped up in a situation or got caught up in a situation, and folks is playing you like a pawn. A lot of times, that's the case, Doc. A lot of guys are getting played like pawns because they think they're trying to build a reputation. I took one for the hood. Yeah, okay, and how does that work out for you, sir? So, with bottom line, when you actually sit down and look at it, a lot of the stuff that's perpetrated on folks, man, is basically bullshit. And that's why I never really dealt in that situation. I try to stay clear of that because I know me. I'm not going to put out somebody else's bullshit. But hey, it is what it is.
Yeah, J. Rooster. Yeah, Ice Cube's been giving Lonzo lots of shots out lately, and we have specific stories we're going to talk about later on today. So thank you for letting us know, man. Ice Cube is going on this tour where he's just letting the cat out of the bag, man, and it's a very important tour. We're going to get into that later on. But J. Rooster also said our people are so misled when he's talking about this story about, you know, these kids following the street code that their favorite rappers aren't even following. Do you feel like we're misled,
Man,
Lonzo?
Totally. Anytime the government allows corporations to make money off of locking people up and cut deals, hey, we'll bring a prison to your territory. You can guarantee 85, 90% occupancy. Hilton Hotels can't guarantee that. But if you can create a situation that can perpetuate that mindset to accomplish that goal, so be it. Everybody making money, man. So when you look up and you see artists waving guns, dope, and all type of negative imagery that is doing nothing but leading to those situations, it's ridiculous. I was doing an interview today, man, and a brother walked in. My cousin came over to my pad when I was doing the interview, and he heard me talking to the interviewer. And in the conversation, he says, "Man, I took a break so I could talk to my folks." He said, "Man, what you just said is something me and my boys from the service, my Army buddies, been talking about for years. That so many people are put in a position of success to lure other people down the same path that 9 times out of 10 they won't make it." At first, it was gang banging. To me, it seemed like it was gang banging and dope dealing. A lot of your so-called superstars started off selling dope allegedly, and they became millionaires, billionaires, or some of them became with gangsters and they became millionaires. It looked like a path to success. And it wasn't until lately that the stripper lifestyle became a path of success for women. And when you think about some of your bigger female rappers, not all of them, I'm not saying all of them, a lot of them started off on the pole. And for a brother who's ran a nightclub, who ran a strip club, I ran a strip club just like I ran the Eve After Dark. I've seen how that path can go left real quick. You out there tricking, doing some dope, get caught up with a jealous fool, get beat up, get cut up. It's an illusion. It's like bait. It's like that bait. You put that bait out, you showed us all the success for this individual. Oh, she was a stripper and she did this. She even got a movie where she was jacking people for their jewels. Dude, if that was a man doing that, he'd be retroactively locked away. But when you see it being done into a movie, and after she even copped to the stuff, I ain't got to call no names. Y'all know what I'm talking about.
They would Bill Cosby him.
Yeah, they're Bill Cosby. Okay, but it's because it's a female, she get a pass, and it becomes a lifestyle. Now, I watch a lot of videos on YouTube, and I see how a lot of women feel that being owed them something because they're cute or they're beautiful or whatever. Nobody owe you shit. Because God bless you with some good looks. Then He bless you with a brain to match that face. If not, you in trouble. You got a limited window of success. So, yeah, man, a lot of folks don't live up to what they preach about. Again, there's a certain in the new age of hip hop, there's become a certain criteria, certain ingredients you have to have in order to be relevant. You got to talk about bitches and hoes, sell some dope, shoot somebody, have a gun in your video, have some booties in your video, be in a swimming pool preferably, or a fast car. One of those few ingredients is what's necessary to give you the illusion of success. You always got to perpetrate where you are in life, even if that's not your case. I mean, if you don't have that kind of money, and it started back in the day with UMTV Rap, everybody had a big old house. They renting them houses. Everybody had a fleet of cars. People renting them cars. Now, there are a few people that do have those things, but most of those people who got them don't want nobody to know they got them. Real rich people, don't want nobody to know they're rich. So go for it.
And you know what? It's like you're reading my mind, because the next story I wanted to run by you is on the similar lines of this story. Very popular rapper G Herbo is facing years behind bars, and I think at the time of this, he's already pled and he's taken 5 years. But very popular rapper pled guilty after. A very popular rapper is behind bars after agreeing to plead guilty stolen identities to fund private jets, a Jamaican villa, and designer puppies. These rappers ain't as rich as we think they are, Lonzo. Or if they are, they do have some money. It's not coming legally, right?
Dude, when you look at Spotify and all these different streaming platforms, and you got to have 100 some plays to get a penny, a dollar, whatever it is. Dude, it take a whole lot of spins to get any kind of money. Then your gig money can be limited based on the crowd that you draw. Some of them are getting money, but a lot of them not, dude. A lot of them just want to live that lifestyle. They've been told this lifestyle comes with a certain benefits, and it don't always come like that, dude. It don't always come like that. You may have a run. Even the most successful rappers, unless you are LL or a Q or a Boston Rhymes or somebody who's really been putting it down consistently for a long time, and you
Salute
own
OG Steve.
much love, Steve. And unless you one of the major players that you messed around and have developed some other streams of revenue streams, the light of your career is going to get dim 3 to 5 years after you make your first record. Unless you become an actor, unless you get some genes, unless you get some type of endorsement situation, your light, the limelight is going to start getting dimmer and dimmer as your ass get older, and that's just the truth of the game. Very few people transition into movies or television. Everybody, Q, Common, LL Cool J, Ice-T, and a few others are the only ones that ever had any longevity when it comes to making movies and television. Q got what 3 or 4 different franchises. Common's in a bunch of movies from time, but he's in movies. He's been doing that for quite some time. LL got a long run on his television show, and Ice-T got the longest out of all of them. But as many rappers as there are out there, and also my boy Ludacris, and he's been in quite a few movies, including the Fast and Furious franchise. But 50 is a smart dude. 50 been making his own movies. See, that's the difference. 50 said he wanted to get the movie game. 50 started taking acting classes. 50 put his own money up to make things happen. 50 took less money on his own show just to make sure they could produce it to the quality that he wanted. I read his book. He said he was taking like 15,000 an episode or something to do the show because he wanted to make sure that everybody was paid and they had enough money for production. He said, I get that for a walkthrough. But I took it for my TV show because he understood that if this thing is successful, he'll keep getting that money. He'll get more. That right there is just a drop in the bucket. So you got a handful of people that understand business well enough to play the game. And like I said, 50, and he's played in several movies. He's been in a movie that I didn't know he was in. B movies. That dude lost like 100 pounds or something to play a AIDS victim one time. I mean, that's how serious he was about being in the movies. Now he got so many series, it's ridiculous. So yeah, but again, his musical career is still there, but the music game has changed so much. Why would he want to spend a bunch of money to make an album when he gonna get crumbs of a percentage of pennies for every stream that he gets? Let me do something else. And now they trying to mess with that. That's why everybody's on strike. Understand the game, folks. Humans are slowly becoming obsolete when it comes to entertainment. I'm just saying.
Yep. Ice-T's another one. OG Steve mentioned. Ice-T realized right away, man, make those movies, make those TV shows.
Yeah.
Making what, $5 million an episode for that Law and Order or whatever he's on.
Yeah, been doing it for like 20-something years. He's one of the longest season. He's been one of the longest running artists, actors, especially black actors in history. And this dude, people be trying to clown. He only get 10 lines. Give a fuck. Give a fuck how many lines he get. Okay? Niggas,
hey, I'd rather have that.
People be,
exactly.
People be trying. Kevin Jenkins, much love. Will Smith, this dude for a while, he was Mr. Summer. He was the summertime king. All his movies came out in the beginning of the summer. They rocked the whole summer. So yeah, I'm sorry, Will Smith. How did I forget Will Smith? TV shows, movies, the whole 9 yards. So you got a handful of people that can actually transition from being rappers to being movie stars, television stars, and that. But again, most of their money came from doing movies. A lot of people made records that made hit records that live a normal lifestyle because the record royalties, they fade like an old pair of jeans. Shit, keeping it 100.
Yep. And can't forget about people like Puffy, who, if I'm correct, he said that less than 10% of his billion-dollar fortune came from music.
Right.
Everything else came from his line of alcohol, his clothing line, like all this other stuff, man. Less than 10% of his $1 billion came from music.
As much money as Dre got, most of his money came from the Beats deal. It didn't come from music. He made money, don't get me wrong, but the Beats deal took him over the top. So, the music game is an entry-level situation, especially right about now. You use that to get popularity. I don't see it being a sustainable situation unless you get into diversify, get you a fat check, and do some other stuff. I mean, that's what a lot of smart old school players did. They got a fat check and they go buy some apartments, get a fat check and go invest in something. Nas did the same thing. Even your ball players, your smart ball players got the bulk of their money from investing in other stuff. They didn't just sit around and play basketball, because most of the ones that just played basketball ended up at a Walmart as a greeter. Welcome to Walmart. Anyway.
There it is. Let's talk some hip hop, Lonzo. I did mention earlier that we are creeping up on the 50th anniversary of hip hop, and I put 50th in quotes. But I don't see a lot of podcasts or YouTubers out there talking about the West Coast side of things. It's like hip hop stopped fucking in Philadelphia and didn't have a whole other story over here. So you have to tell our story, Lonzo, and who better than you to tell our story about West Coast hip hop. But let's jump into some questions, and just to let everybody know, when you do ask a question in comment section on Lonzo's page, we will definitely get to those. And one of the comments that had me laughing, Lonzo, one of the comments that I want you to comment on, it says, it was from a guy. It says, it seems like our discussion, Lonzo, on the greatest rap groups of all time ruffled a few feathers. Someone said, about to unsub from this channel. Lonzo never misses an opportunity to downplay the very rap group that made him relevant. You know motherfucking well, Outkast and Wu-Tang can't mess with N.W.A. Seems like you got something to get off your chest, old man, especially against Eazy. Now, before you comment, Lonzo, I want to read Lonzo's response, because your responses are classic. Lonzo says, you are a fan on the sidelines. When you know people personally, sometimes you have a different opinion. I have nothing against anyone, especially Eazy. I got my personal opinion, and I don't ride nuts. I like N.W.A, but I also like Outkast for different reasons. By the way, I'm the only person fighting to get a street named after Eazy. You got me 50 shades of fucked up. And then you ended it with, that's Mr. Old Man to you. Break it down, Lonzo, please.
You know what? People act like because they came from my camp, I have to automatically ride their nuts. I mean, I ain't got no problem with nobody, man. That's not my thing. I'm a DJ. I'm a music fan, and certain things I can relate to better. Simple as that. Great N.W.A is a great group. They did a lot of good shit, but I enjoy listening to Outkast more. That's my personal opinion, and I'm entitled to that shit. Okay, I'm entitled to that shit. Meanwhile, I had, man, dude, when Eazy was living, Eazy would come to my house after he made his money, dude. Me and that dude sitting on my patio outside a many a day and just kicked it. Just fucking kicked it. Because he was that kind of dude. His bodyguards would show up, he'd get on the phone, he got to go, and he was out of here. So when I saw there was an attempt before to do a street named Eazy after Eazy-E, and it failed. Now that I'm the president of the Compton Entertainment Chamber of Commerce, now that I have the relationships, I believe I can make that happen. In fact, today, as we speak right now, I have a friend of mine at the city council meeting of Compton waiting to call me to let me know if the motion was passed to put Eazy Street on the agenda. Okay, the council person, Lily Darden, who is sponsoring this program, she has to make a motion. This is politics now, folks. Make a motion to change the street after Eazy, change the name of the street to Eazy Street after Eazy-E. Once that motion is put on the floor, somebody has to second that motion. Once that motion is seconded, it then goes on the agenda for the entire city council to vote on. Based on my research and my conversations, I will have I should have a unanimous decision to get Eazy. That's Lonzo doing that. Ain't nobody else doing that. Because the dude was a good dude. People have a lot of perceptions of him. Sometimes his stage persona got confused with the real person. But again, I know the real dude. I knew the real dude was a good dad. I knew the real dude was a good community person. I knew the real dude. I knew the dude. I didn't know the Kelly Park Eazy-E. I don't recall nobody ever said Eazy ever did no drive-bys. Nobody said Eazy had no bodies. Eazy gave he passed out more record contracts than anybody I could think of. So when I look back, and like I said before, when you're not a nut rider, when you actually have a chance to understand the history of individuals from a personal standpoint, you make your decisions based on that. I'm quite sure at one point in time, Outkast, I think Wu-Tang already in Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, aren't they? Are they? They'll all be there, but because they got there first, don't mean.
If not, they should be.
And understand this. I'm proud of the brothers. Me and Yellow talk all the time. Q, my name fall out of Q's mouth on a regular basis. So for somebody to sit there and watch one episode of my podcast and try to act like I automatically got to be over here on this, no, dude, I still got love for them. Everything they did right here. But I like Outkast. What you want me to do? I'm not a nut rider, Mr. Motherfucker.
I don't think I've ever heard you say a negative thing about Eazy-E on this show.
I've never talked
or what could even be pertained as a diss or anything. So I don't know what homeboy.
Well, you know what,
about.
dude? Sometimes when you tell the truth, people have illusions of who people are. Okay, especially artists. People always, much love, Martin. I see you, baby. Thank you, appreciate it.
Good looking out, Marlon. He says, hit that organ, Unc.
You know what, Martin, I'm gonna have to put that organ a little bit faster so I can get held to it when I need to. But you're absolutely correct. When you have I
got you on this side, Lonzo. Keep talking.
Okay. When you have personal history with folks, it gives you a different insight. Okay. It's certain things that most people don't know. And you appreciate people in different ways. And like I said before, I did more with Eazy when he was living than a whole lot of people. And it ain't for the internet all the damn time, but I did what I did. I got more Rufus checks I got for any place else. It's just how we roll. And like I said before, I'm in the position to do something to commemorate your brother. I'm gonna do what I can to make it happen, and it's gonna be good for the city as well. So if it ain't just about him, it's about the city of Compton and the people of Compton. People want that, and I've seen it. It was attempted before, and I do believe I can make it happen. So yeah. And I've never hated shit. That ain't what I do. Obviously, you don't know who you fucking with. No, you don't know who you fucking with. So please, before you start making judgment on Lonzo, do some more research, bro. Do some more research and understand who I am and how I operate. Because I got a different operating system from a whole lot of people. Trust me.
Mm-hmm. There it is, man. There it is. Let's move on. Let's keep it West Coast hip hop. I got an email from the STEM radio this morning. He says, I was listening to an interview with Cube, and he said back in the day, CIA would do dirty party raps like Dirty Bobby Jimmy. He said Lonzo put it out, and it was a bootleg called Dirty Raps or something like that. He found that song on YouTube, Lonzo, and he asked if you could elaborate on that a little bit more.
Dude, it's a few things. I called up CJ Mack. I'm trying to get on their show so I can just refute some of this stuff. But I'm going to tell y'all, since y'all said they kick them on a regular basis, I'm going to let y'all know what happened on that. First of all, I want y'all to understand, I'm older than everybody. I'm a grown-ass man when I'm doing doodles. I'm a grown-ass man when I'm doing Eve After Dark. I got a kid already. I got people coming to Eve After Dark. And by the time I got to doodles, I got people dropping their kids off. Because at doodles, because it was so much bigger, and it was in Compton versus LA County. Eve After Dark was in LA County. Although Eve allowed him in at 15, I kept it 18, and it was on my discretion if I let somebody in 16 or 17. I preferred Eve After Dark to look more like Soul Train as opposed to Romper Room, okay, or Nickelodeon. When I got to Doodles is huge. Doodles held like 2,000 people. And Compton, that you have youngsters in a venue like teen venue at 12 years old. So I got people's kids coming to my events. Kids, people's children. Okay. I got Compton PD as my security. People are entrusted me, Lonzo Williams, to look out for their kids from 8 until 1 o'clock in the morning. Why 12 years old are out of 12 at 1 o'clock in the morning? I don't know, but it's my job to look out for them. At Dudos, this is the same. Cube just spoke on the same scenario that they use on Straight Outta Compton, and even Cube don't know why I reacted the way I did. At Dudos, I got three. At any given time, I got 3 off-duty Compton PDs working for me. My cousin, Philip Bailey, Reggie Wright Sr., yes, Reggie Wright Sr., not Junior, the daddy, and Lieutenant Elvis, and sometimes these guys would rotate out, depending. Henry Taylor, the former chief of police, various guys that would switch out. I always had 3 cops, 2 to 3 cops on duty at all times. And even if they wasn't working, sometimes they would just come by and hang out. Lieutenant Elvis, Dallas Elvis, was one of the guys that worked on my detail. Cool white dude, big tall motherfucker, look like Elvis for real. Okay, cool white dude, black hair and shit. So me and him was real cool. The motherfucker had a crush on my girlfriend. He's all right, man. She sure is fine. Get the fuck out of this bullshit. Anyway, me and him was talking, having a conversation. I don't know what happened, but I had to go take care of something, whatever the case may be. When I walked back in the room, folks was, hey, wow, yeah, it was all fired up and shit, right? And all of a sudden, it's the same dude I just had a conversation with, made a beeline, cut straight to me. Lonzo, I can arrest you right now. For what? For contributing to the delinquency of a minor. How the hell you figure that? Well, they had just got through doing them goddamn dirty raps. So the people that I'm hiring, the police that I'm hiring, go to sweat me because they did these fucking dirty raps. Now I get on Dre's ass behind the shit because he don't know, he don't give a shit. So when you a grown ass man, and by the time I got to do those, I was about 26, 27, and I got these people's kids I'm responsible for. It's a simple fact of responsibility. It's the difference between Uncle Jam's Army and World Class and Wreckin Cru, simply because I was trained to have responsibility for my people. I couldn't let anything just happen in my venues, especially when I got the police looking at my ass the whole goddamn time. So I got on Dre's ass. I had to apologize to the police, got on Dre's ass, told them they couldn't do that shit no more. Although the shit was successful, it was received well, I still couldn't let them do that shit under my label, not Crew Cut, because Crew Cut just did Lovers, Surgery, Juice, and some other shit. So how do I just put this shit on Crew Cut? Now, when they got to Eazy, that's a whole different thing. They're all the same age. They all trying something, and the shit started to work. From Lonzo at 27, 28 years old to have these kids doing some nasty rap shit, all they mamas would be on my ass. All they mamas would be on their ass. And let's go to part 2. When Q and them came to me talking about they wanted to have criminals in action, dude, I know your mama. Your mama ain't coming to kicking my ass how I got a 15-year-old son doing criminals in action. He ain't no damn criminal. Y'all got to understand, this is the 80s. Shit ain't like it is right. This was 40 years ago when parents still come out and check a motherfucker. Okay? When the teacher said something at school back then, the parents took the teacher's side. They didn't go begging on the teacher because the kid did something wrong. They kicked the kid's ass, and it was a whole different world. If you were responsible for people's kids, dude, you had to be responsible. That's what that responsibility, having a sense of responsibility, has been the key to my longevity. No, I don't do eating everything for money. I can't, because I know better, and that's the fucking difference. When you know better, you do better. I can't support certain shit because I know damn well I know better. If Jeff D, my dad, any of these people saw me doing that shit, man, I got to answer to them people. Man, there's certain shit I couldn't let go down to Eve after dark because I had a sense of responsibility. That's like right now. You can't let your kids do any old damn thing at your house, especially if some shit you may do at your house that you know if your dad or your mom came in the house, your kids better not do. Okay, you know that some shit your mama better not hear your kids say certain things because certain things were not acceptable at that time. Gangster rap was not heard of. Dirty rap was only for grown folks, and to have some kids do a dirty rap in front of all these kids was a strict fucking no-no. Could have got me arrested. And damn sure I couldn't have Bernice's son, I think my name is Bernice Jackson, doing criminals with action. Not her 15-year-old son who ain't no criminal. And she know where I live at too, man. Fuck that. I ain't doing that. I'm sorry, Doc. And that's what people got to realize. Everybody's mama knew what the fuck I lived in the hood. I lived in the same place for damn near 40 years. I know his mama's friends, okay? They're a little older than me, but I still know that circle. If Lonzo, the leader of this shit, start letting these kids do this right here, they're gonna have a field day on my ass. Certain shit I just can't do. It may have gotten past with Jerry Heller. Certain shit Lonzo couldn't do because they know damn well I know that fool live at. I'm gonna go by and check his ass right now, and I'm gonna leave it like that.
No, let me ask you, Lonzo, because when Stim Radio sent or the link to the I think it is a blue tape for anyone asking. It's on the YouTube though, and there's a picture of a blue tape. Considering they were 15, I was listening to the songs and I was like, this is pretty clever, actually. In hindsight, obviously. I know back in 85, it's like, what the hell are you motherfuckers doing? Are you kidding me? Are you crazy? This is crazy, but in hindsight, were they ahead of their time doing shit like that at 15 years old?
Oh, definitely. I mean, this one, the kids been doing this shit forever. I remember back when I was at St. Albert's in the elementary school, and I remember a dude did a dirty version of Runaway Child, okay? And oh my God, he's cussing. He's saying, what did he say? Something like, something about, they're talking about, where will I pee? I mean, this is the shit they were saying, but nobody ever recorded the shit. And that's the difference. When you record that shit and put it on wax or vinyl, it changes everything. Now, understand me. Old man Dootsy Williams, the guy who owned Duro's Music Center, that was his shit. That he specialized in Red Fox and LaWanda Page and all that crazy ass so-called blue music, that party music, them party records. But again, they was all grown. They wasn't kids. And that makes the big ass difference. And that's the part that my black ass couldn't deal with. I couldn't have kids doing that. I couldn't.
Yeah. Let's remind everyone to hit that like button. And if this is your first time joining the channel and you like what you hear, please hit that subscribe button. We do appreciate each and every one of you doing that for us. You are tuned into Not Without Alonzo. I'm Dusty Vision. And as I said earlier, it's the 50th year anniversary of hip hop. And if no one tells the West Coast, if no one's going to tell our story like Lonzo can tell it. So that's why we've been doing a lot of hip hop related stuff, West Coast hip hop related stuff specifically. So thank you guys for enjoying it. And thank you for hitting that like button. Next question, Lonzo from AC Eddie or something like that. I read a very cool Captain Rapp interview. He said when he wrote Bad Times, he sat on the street in his neighborhood, observed, and wrote. Talk to us, Lonzo, about Bad Times. And also talk to us, what year did that come out? And what was LA like at that time when he was writing? For him to walk outside and just be like, damn, let me write this powerful song, which is kind of like the Close to the Edge. It will be our Don't Push Me Because I'm Close to the Edge, probably, right?
I think Bad Times came out by 82, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not sure. I think it was about 82. But man, that song right there was a banger, dude. It's still a banger right to this day. Rich, I think it was produced by Rich Kaysen. And I do believe Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis did a mix on it. They had something to do with it also. Don't hold me to that. I think it was. I think it was Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis. But I know Rich Kaysen has something to do with it. I just can't put my finger on it right now. Because I know Kim Ball, she turned back around and redid it, and that was a super banger at that time at the Carolina West. That was the shit. Boom, 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 boom. Bad Times, you know. And Kim Ball, all she did was sing it, just sang Bad Times. These are for real, Bad Times. L.A. '82, man. It was. I think that's when the Sherm was popular, dude. '82, people was getting dusted. The '80s was the year of angel dust, and it wouldn't be nothing to see somebody walk on the street, smoke that shit, and get butt ass naked in the intersection, trying to direct traffic. You know, LA has always had its dark parts of town, no matter what year it was. I don't know exactly where he lived at, but fuck it, let's call him. Let's see what's happening. Fuck that. Let me call him. Maybe I get him on the phone. Hold on, that's my boy. Let's see who we can get on the phone.
Love it.
Let me see here.
Love it.
Let me see.
Captain Rapp, West Coast pioneer, arguably the first person on the West Coast to release a rap song. I believe that is what I understand. If I'm not mistaken, or if I'm mistaken, please correct me.
No, Captain.
Yeah, Captain Rapp, man, and it was
Captain.
Oh, I see my whole hip hop is messed up. Break it down.
Captain Rapp. Hey, what's up, Captain? It's Captain Rapp. What's up, Lonzo, baby? How you feeling, man? Man, I'm good. You got a hot minute, man? Good. I'm on my podcast right now.
Hey, Lon, we can't hear him connecting to the phone.
Okay, my bad. Hold on a second, Doc. I got to make a quick adjustment. Test one. Say something, Captain Rapp.
I'm here, man. What's up?
How you doing? Can you hear him now, Dusty? Okay, cool. Look here, folks. I got my boy Captain Rapp.
Perfect.
You know, we were just talking about your record, Bad Times, man. Somebody read an interview, and they were talking about how you went outside and wrote the song, and they was asking me some questions. Like, fuck, let me call him. Let me answer his own damn question. How you doing, first of all, man? Do your own interview. I don't know about your stuff. Talk about your stuff, man.
Oh, man. Okay, so, wow. You know, all I can say, man, that I can remember really well is that I had gotten out the military. I came to Long Beach where my family was at. And I met Kelvin and Cletus and that family. I met Duffy Hooks along the way. And all of a sudden, I was asked to write a song. I guess they were trying to see if I could do it. And maybe because of how I wrote Gigolo, you know, with Disco Daddy, I guess they figured, well, you know, he probably could do it on his own. And what's crazy is that was right before I was asked to do it. I was asked to come to meet with the man who was running Motown at the time.
Okay.
And he was trying to sign me. He said, all I've been doing is hearing about you. And I'm looking at the cat like, who is this guy? You know what I mean? It's funny because you go down, I went down to the office, I'm sitting there talking to the cat, and I'm looking at him like, who is the guy? But in a long story short, Barry had hired him to be the president. I want to say at the time he had done a lot of work with a lot of people. And so I walked out of his office and I had some time to contemplate if I wanted to do it or not, or how I wanted to approach this thing. And then Cletus called me one day and said, man, I want to know if you could write something and see, you know, if you could do it. And I said, you know, what do you want? And all he said to me was, I want something that talks about how tough things are out here. That's what he said.
Okay.
So that's how I wrote Bad Times. I wrote Bad Times. I wrote the whole thing in probably 2 weeks.
Okay.
The hook and everything. I knew I wanted the hook sung. So I ended up calling, I started researching and looking for somebody to sing it, you know, and everybody I would run into, I would go, nah, they not doing it right. I wanted somebody to take it to church. And then one day I was in the studio at Larrabee.
Okay.
And I was there with Jimmy, Jam, and Terry Lewis. They were helped me with the record. And all of a sudden I saw this thing on the board. I saw this girl's name and I said, well, it won't hurt just to call her. And I called her, and that was Kimberly Ball. She said, I could be down there in a minute. I said, do me a favor. I said, I'm gonna give you some lyrics real quick over the phone. I just need you to sing them. And when she sang what she sang, I said, get down here. And that's how we met. The girl was bad. I mean, she knew how to do it. And the rest was handed to Greg Mack, and Greg Mack was the one that played the record first.
Hey, what did Rich Kaysen do?
So this is the crazy thing. Rich Kaysen was my buddy.
Okay.
Rich Kaysen we were such good friends, man, that Rich Kaysen, so I guess the track was like, Rich Kaysen had done this track, but he had done a basic track of this thing. And so when Duffy had it, I think Duffy gave it to Cletus, and Cletus was the one that said, can you do something with this? And I told Cletus, I said, the track is cool. I knew, that me and Rich did a lot of work, even after, I think at one point, Rich was working with Ice-T, he was working with me.
He was the go-to guy. He was the man.
Rich was the man. And a lot of people don't know at the time Rich was trying to kind of move over to the hip hop side. Rich was already, him and his partner were already doing, they were already having major blues records under their name.
Right,
a lot.
Right.
I mean, a lot. And I remember that. I remember Rich telling me how all the blues cats he had been working with and some of the hit records he was doing. And so when we got the basic track, and I just remember Jimmy Jam had asked me, him and Terry were in there, and they were like, well, let me hear how you would approach this. And as I started rapping it, I knew the thing frontwards and backwards. I could do the whole thing in one take. You know what I mean?
Okay.
After writing that thing for 2 weeks. And so Jimmy said, man, I got something. And once Jimmy started putting that on it, and I was like, wait a minute, if you do that, I know what I can do now.
Okay.
And that's kind of the history, man. I mean, a lot of love and respect for Rich Kaysen, a lot of love and respect for Cletus to even have the idea and allow me. He didn't even ask me to, whatever I wrote, he was cool. I'm gonna be honest with you. Cletus didn't ask me to do nothing. He just said, write something about the way things are. And coming up, man, South Central and Long Beach, and seeing how the cats handled the streets. And at the time, the drugs that was out there, that was easy to do. Right. It wasn't hard. You know what I'm saying? But I think the hardest part for me at the time was really trying to work that hook. And no matter how I wrote that hook, I always heard a female singing that hook. Okay. And then that's for real. I mean, and if I tell you I interviewed 10 women, it might have been 15.
Wow.
And nobody really could deliver until Kimberly Ball delivered. And I was like, where you been? And nobody knew she was in a group. She was signed to a major label, but they were using her the wrong way. That's why, I'll be honest with you, man, I learned over the years of my life, majors really don't know what they doing.
They have no idea.
No idea.
My girl, Mona Lisa, was the same thing, Doc. Mona was in a group called Saint-Tropez, okay?
Okay.
They were a disco group, and they had her doing some disco stuff. She was the vocals. Mona reminded me of Patti LaBelle. Patti LaBelle was with her group, the LaBelles, right? I mean, LaBelles back in the day. But they didn't let the producers wouldn't let her cut loose. She had all the talent to go banging by herself, but they put it with Nona Gay and some other people. And no disrespect to those people right there, but Patti LaBelle was a powerhouse by herself, just like Mona was. And they don't, they get an idea they see somebody else being successful with a three female group. They want to produce the same shit.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna be honest with you. All the years that passed, even when we traveled together, me and Kim, I would say to people, the only female that I ever heard after the song was done that I said could give or could have given to me, Kimberly Ball, some comp on that was the girl Dre used on that song, the one that passed. What was her name?
One that passed?
She passed away. The girl from LA, bad as all get. I mean, I can't. It's like funny because I could tell you the song,
what was the song?
It was Dre. Was it Dre Day?
Oh, Joelle.
Man.
Joelle can sing ass off.
Man.
Joelle
That
was
girl right there.
Joelle
look,
was no joke.
I listen to the song a lot of times because I like the song, but I listen to Joelle.
Joelle.
I don't know why. Yeah. Well, most of them girls that got vocals like that, they are a handful.
Joelle, she's coming to you even after dark with all my money for contests when she was like 16, 15, 16. I ain't bullshit. She been doing that since she was a young.
Yeah, man.
She won all the money talent shows. Shit, she got everybody faded. Everybody.
Look, even after Kim did that with me, I noticed something.
What's that?
Kim started getting phone calls on the regular.
Okay.
She was getting calls. It was like, hey, can you sing this for me? Can you sing that for me? And it was funny because she would call me and say, how should I approach it? Blah, blah, blah. I say, look, see what they're going to offer you and, tell them what you want. And if you want a part of it, if you singing something, it's part of the song, if you need some writers or some publishing, whatever, to let them know. Ask them for the split sheet. I was like, because cats ain't going to tell you that they want to give you $50 and buy.
Right.
So I was, I've been trying to, I ain't going to lie, man. I just been trying to educate folks now because the game is no joke.
Hey, no joke. We just talking about how fast the lights go out. You get a hit record today, standing on stage in spotlights. Next thing you know, you outside in the parking lot picking up trash.
Look, I've said to people like, I know a lot of people don't, I don't tell a lot of people, but I've worked with people over the years that have made it. Like, somebody brought them to me and said, man, I know you can help them. And there's a cat right now. I just won't say his name, but I'll say he's a major hip hop guy from Compton, and he's hot right now. I've probably been out with him at least 4 or 5 dates right now.
Okay.
And what I'm doing for him is I'm trying to show him how not to let the label and how not to let the management and everybody that's with him take his money.
Right.
Because they will take it. And he's had hits. I mean, he didn't work. I can tell you, cats, he didn't work with.
Okay.
And he got records. He got records right now that's playing. And every time we get together, I was just with him last week. And I tell him all the time. I said, all that performing and all that, that's cool. But you know what? If you don't make sure that shit is on paper, then what happens at some point when the lights go out and everything stops, you ain't got no money. Everybody else is living off your money.
Everybody
living off your creativity. Exactly.
Private school based on your dollars.
Exactly.
Hey,
exactly.
Is Kim Ball still with us?
Yeah, she's still with you. Yeah.
Okay. Somebody thought she might have passed. I'm looking in my chat room right
now.
No,
I just talked to Kim. I want to say the past few months or so I talked to Kim. Now, if she passed, it had to be in the past few months. But I know I usually reach out to her because I got her number. I usually just call her.
Hey, get a number.
And just check in on.
I want to holler at her.
Okay, I'll do that.
Right.
Matter of fact, I'm gonna tell you what I'm gonna do. When I get off the phone with you, I'm gonna call her, and I'm gonna say, Lonzo want to talk with you. And I'll say, if you want to talk with him, I'll just send you the number. She'll say, okay, yes or no, whatever.
No problem.
But yeah, I'll make sure.
All right, Doc. I had to get it from the horse's mouth, baby. That's how we do it
all
here.
Good.
We call the OG. Good. I got all the triple OG's phone numbers, baby, and they answer the phone.
Good,
that's a true OG. Good. Much love, Doc. Holla later. Brother. All right, peace.
You too. All right, later.
Triple OG's answer the phone.
That's how we do it.
Triple OG's answer the phone for triple OGs.
Yeah. See, damn, dude. Triple OGs don't text all the time. Triple OGs pick up the phone and call.
Hey, what's up, Lonzo? If they see him, if they know if I'm calling, they no bullshit. So that's out of respect. And I hope it's I had an argument the other day with a lady, and she was saying that kid, oh man, you can't, you gotta let these kids make their own mistakes. I said, you know what? As an adult, that's our job is try to steer them away from mistakes. Well, you can take a horse to the water, but you can't make him drink. What if the horse just don't know what a goddamn pond is? What if you could show them what a goddamn pond is? If they want to drink, they're gonna drink. But if you don't show them what a goddamn pond is, this little motherfucker gonna die of thirst because you too lazy. You assume they don't want to know nothing. That's the biggest crock of shit. That's why I do my show the way I do. Anyway, folks.
And love it. Let's keep it pushing with the questions. Kevin Jenkins says, speaking of Soul Train, were you guys ever approached to do the show?
Hell no. Hell no. I don't even know if the Dream Team did Soul Train. I don't think none of us did Soul Train, dude. I can't recall Egypt. Um, Soul Train was very resistant to rappers. I know Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five did it, and Run DMC did it, but Don wasn't that enthused about. According to the TV show I watched, he wasn't that enthused about rap on Soul Train. That was my impression. But no, the Wreckin Cru damn sure didn't do it. Soul Train got as much of an influence. Soul Train was on my life. I was telling the interviewer today. She was talking about the 50th anniversary of hip hop. Asked me what my inspiration was. I had two inspirations. One was Lonnie Simmons from who owned the Total Experience nightclub. I'll never forget. I was 19 years old, standing in line to see the dramatic at the Total Experience, and I see this dude pull up in a white Rolls Royce, get out, clean as a motherfucker, walk into the club. A few minutes later, they started playing this new group out of Oklahoma, and it was the Gap Band. And they talked about how it's going to be. They brought Lonnie up on the stage, and I was the same dude. Got the limo, got out the Rolls Royce. This is his club. This is his record label. I'm like, damn, bro, man, killing it. That was one of my influences. And then also Don Cornelius. Like I explained to Homegirl today, Eve After Dark was Soul Train without the cameras. Friday night, Soul Train dancers would come to Eve After Dark to dance. And Saturday morning, they get up and go dance. After they got through recording, a lot of them would come back to Eve After Dark and party. That's how synonymous the two work. I never made Soul Train as a dancer. I had to work on Saturdays with my dad all the time. Although I tried my best to qualify to get out there and do what I had to do, but I couldn't get. Man, how was I gonna get from Compton to La Brea and Melrose on a Saturday afternoon? That wasn't. My mama wasn't taking me. My daddy had to work going. My daddy had me going to work. Wasn't gonna happen.
D Minor wants to know what's your take on Arabian Prince with him musically and what he's contributed to N.W.A. And was there a lot of interaction between him and DOC?
I don't know the interaction between him and DOC. I do know Arabian Prince played a major part in the beginning of N.W.A. because Arabian had equipment. And, as many people say, they had this, they bought that. No, Arabian Prince, they left here to use. I had equipment and Arabian Prince had equipment. Arabian Prince is a techie motherfucker. Yeah, that's what he does. He's been that way since I've known him, since he was a youngster. He's always been a techie dude. And when he joined the N.W.A., he'd already been with Bobby Jimmy and the Critters. He was a Critter at first with Bobby Jimmy. Then he went solo first. Then he joined the Critters. Then he joined N.W.A. Arabian Prince is like that. I don't know. He's like Forrest Gump or hip hop. He pop up every damn where. And the first few records that they made, Something to Dance To and Panic Zone, were produced by Arabian Prince. If you listen to either one of them records, either one of them could have been a Wreckin Cru song. That's how. And this is the part people don't really pay attention to. Either one of those records could have been a record. You could have put me and Clientele on either one of those records, or Dre at leads, or whatever the case may be. It'd have been a Wreckin Cru song, and the shit would still been jamming because they were not, the gangster persona had not taken hold yet, and they dropped them Arabian Prince tracks to get airplay because they knew they wasn't gonna get airplay on Boys in the Hood based on the way it was originally. After they edited it and got it all cleaned up, then they got some airplay on it. But going into it initially with N.W.A., they came out with Something to Dance To and Panic Zone. And like I said before, those both were Wreckin Cru, Egyptian Lover, Arabian Prince inspired songs. Yes, he played a major role in the history of N.W.A.
I'll forever call it the interview that never was. A couple of years ago, Lonzo interviewed the DOC, and the reason why you guys haven't seen it on the channel is because Lonzo forgot to hit record. Since then, I record on my end. Yeah. I record on my end, and so does Alonzo, just so we have two copies, just in case that never happens again. Right. But talk to us about what you remember about the DOC. And he was a dope artist, and he was next up until he had that that unfortunate motorcycle
You know,
accident.
DOC called me up to do his documentary. I'm like, why? I forgot. DOC met Dre and us in Dallas. Where is he from? Dallas or Houston? Wherever he's from. The story behind DOC.
Dallas.
He's from Dallas. Okay. The story behind DOC. Dr. Rock was a DJ at Eve After Dark. Dr. Rock had some things happen here in the city. He moved to Dallas. When he went to Dallas, he took his DJ skills to the Tom Joyner Morning Show, and then he formed a group called Feeling Fresh Crew. Wreckin Cru goes to Dallas because that was one of our mainstays far as performing. Bam, Wreckin Cru, we hook up with Dr. Rock. Dr. Rock is out there balling. Okay, so he got the music bug, so he flies back to LA with DOC, and they all come to the studio, and we hang out here in the studio, and that's where the chemistry starts with Dre and DOC here in the studio. And next thing I know, DOC is back, but Dr. Rock didn't come back with him. And next thing I know, he's on Ruthless Records. And that was how things transpired. He was an artist on Ruthless Records until and even he's still a fantastic writer. But he also shared with me how he had some serious depression after he had his accident. You know, he was doing a lot of alcohol and some other things. I'm gonna reach out for him and see if I can get him to do an interview with me again, just to do a makeup interview. The deal was, if I did his documentary, he'd do my show, and he kept his point. He kept his part. I just didn't push record. I couldn't even call him back and tell him I'm sorry, later on, the doc. You know something, man. I mean, he really opened up to me, man. It was really a touching situation because he talked about his kid having a baby by Erykah Badu and dealing with all that situation, how his kid and all that changed his life, got him to stop drinking and clean himself up, and he still was good writing and doing this thing. And it was two homies just talking, man. It was a great interview. And I just forgot to push record.
Something that we've all done at least once, but I guarantee you'll never do it again. I always it's second nature now. Make sure the clock is ticking. It's second nature now. It'll never happen again.
Record is automatically set on my unit now.
There it is.
Automatic. Go ahead.
D Minor wants to know, could you describe all 5 members of World Class Wreckin Cru and all 6 members of N.W.A. in one word?
Unique.
Break it down.
DJ Yella, a worker. Dre, creative. Clientele, intelligent. Cube, creative. Ren, can't tell you shit. Eazy, smart. Dre, again, creative. Arabian, multi-talented. And back to Yella, hard worker. Yella's always been the backbone of a lot of shit. Yella was the backbone of Eve After Dark, backbone of Wreckin Cru, backbone of
Damn, can you go into that a little bit more?
And I met Yella at Eve After Dark. I hired him to snatch down some posters. I needed a bounty hunter. I put a quarter bounty on all promoters posters. They pissed me off. I said, fuck everybody. I want posters. I want the post clean. But none of my guys had cars. And those who did have cars had to work at the club. And a partner of mine, Phil Luke, brought Yella to my attention. And I said, all right, I want all the promoters' posters snatched down. I got a quarter bounty on each poster. Shit, Yella brought me all the promoters, Lost Dog, House for Rent, Jerry Curl's Jerry Curl discount. And I had to respect it. I'm like, okay, he got me on that one. I ain't mad. And then he said he could DJ. All right. And at Eve After Dark, we opened from 10 o'clock till 6 o'clock sometime. I ran like a radio station. And sometimes I didn't DJ. I gave Dr. Rock my slot, and sometimes they got stuck. I would go in and fill in. But Yella had the late shift from 12 to 2. And then 12 to 2 or something like that. And then Dr. Rock had that issue. He disappeared all of a sudden. And Unknown was running the bar. I was still spinning from time to time. The Yella came in. He had enough sense to handle it. And every once in a while, he would get stuck. And because when you DJ in 2 or 3 hours, 2 hours, you can, especially if you got guys behind you, if you ain't paying attention, you can find yourself getting repetitive. And the crowd been there since 10 o'clock. They know when you playing the same records over and over again. So anyway, he was a learner, but also he was good with his hands. I can give Yellow my truck, my mobile unit. He can go out and do a noon dance or a prom or after prom or homecoming dance to help finance other different situations. When we were at Wreckin Cru, we had a whole system that was an Oberheim system with various MIDI keyboards attached to it. Yella made sure all that shit ran. Okay, he hooked it up. He understood it. He figured it all out. I knew how to do it, but I didn't have time to do it because I was doing other shit. So he was always that backbone when it comes to running the mixing board. He knew how to handle the mixing board. He wasn't the most creative cat, but he was a solid. But he would do what he did, and whatever he did, he did it solidly, and that's why I say he was a backbone.
Love it, man. Dude, Lonzo, I look forward to these Tuesdays, and I hope everyone out there does too. And once again, who's going to tell the West Coast story better than the godfather of West Coast hip hop himself, with everybody in his damn Rolodex that he could just literally pick up a phone. And I mean, I bet you guys didn't tune in and thought that you'd be talking to or hearing another West Coast legend like Captain Rapp telling their story. Love these shows, Lonzo. What's coming up next for you, man?
Working with the state senate to get the West Coast hip hop players, some of the OGs, triple OGs, recognized on the state floor in Sacramento. And wait to hear back from my people from the city council meeting to see if that motion was passed today. So yeah, we're doing some next level shit right now, folks. I mean, that's the beauty of knowing people and being connected. You get to do next level shit. I should be retired, going fishing, playing golf like OJ says. Fuck that. I'm still working on my legacy.
I love it, man. It's a great legacy. Thank you so much for everything you do, man. And I'm good. Any last words?
Last year. All right, folks. Thanks for everybody in the chat room for chiming in.
Love all the chat piece, everybody. Thank you for hitting that like button before you guys bounce. Peace.
I didn't do a roll call today, but y'all know who y'all. Much love to everybody and everybody that drops up in the chat. Super chat. Extra love. Super love to you also. Dustin, we out of here like last year, baby. Peace.